Hi, everybody. I'm Gene Simmons, and you're not. And you are listening to the #1 KISS podcast, Shout It Out Loudcast, with Tom and Zeus. But you knew that. Now get out of here.
Oh, boy. Here we go. This is Gene Simmons. Put that cookie down, KISS. Stop pressing the button. Stockbroker Simmons. Star? Stanley. Is that what he does? Stop shouting. My name is Ace Frehley. He's not what you would call a handsome man. Oh, no. Here come the KISS times. Is that a positive thing? Okay. All right. I'm going to grab me an ice cold mellow yellow. Why? Why do that to the fan? Stop it. Why? Because fuck them. That's what I'm talking about. 617-525-0850. You do? Hey, fucko. Do you like KISS? Settle down.
Hello. Hey, what's up there, KISS Army? Tom and Zeus with another episode of Shout It Out Loudcast, episode 247. KISS on Tomorrow with Tom Snyder, Halloween 1979.
Another milestone TV appearance that we've been holding off on. Last year, it was Phantom. This year, it's Tom Snyder. And what good luck for us that was on Halloween. So perfect.
Yes. Our Halloween KISS theme continues.
Yep.
Yeah. So, hey, Tom, last week we had the great Martin Popoff on, and he talked about his awesome new KISS book, KISS at 50.
Yep.
And that went fucking as awesome as it can be because it's Martin Popoff, and he's a legend and love picking his brain about all kinds of music. But we did a poll, and how'd that go?
Yeah, we did a poll asking people about what their favorite KISS book was. And of course, there's only 4 options. They're all amazing. You know, there's no wrong answers. But for this poll, we chose Behind the Mask, which is kind of like the Holy Bible for KISS fans. Shout It Out Loud, the story of Destroyer by our good friend and awesome author and just awesome all-around guy, the great James Campion. KISS at 50, obviously, Martin Popoff. And Take It Off, a spectacular book by our friend and former guest Greg Prado about the unmasked non-makeup years. 4 amazing books. No real surprise here. Behind the Mask comes in first, 53%. But bravo to our buddy James. Shout It Out Loud comes in second at 25. Take It Off comes in at third with 15. KISS at 50 comes in last with 7, only because it's brand new, and I'm sure a lot of people, they just don't have it and can't really respond to the poll accurately. That combined with, again, Behind the Mask is just the Holy Bible. Got a lot of write-in votes, and I agree with a lot of them. My write-in vote obviously would have been Kiss and Sell by C.K. Lent. That is probably the other go-to book that's fantastic. Our buddy John Restano said the same thing. He commented on that. We had a lot of write-ins for that. Our buddy Brad Baird said the same thing, hoping that we could get C.K. Lent on someday. That would be amazing. Our buddy Daryl Alber. Of course, I will mention Kurt Gooch's Kiss Alive Forever.
Yep, same thing. Great book.
Yep. He says, hopefully you see this tweet before he claims copyright use on the word kiss. Gotta love the current events. James Six Star says, in all fairness, I haven't yet seen Kiss at 50. Take It Off is great. Egghog had a great write-in vote. A write-in vote for Nothing to Lose, the making of Kiss. That's another awesome one. So many good ones. So let's see what we got about the episode, because a lot of people had comments on the poll. Man, that's actually could be a whole friggin' episode talking about all the different great books.
What Matt about Murphy? My book, Tom? It's called I Got Regrets.
It's called Meet Me in the Tool Shed. You know, I was thinking, Zeus. You know,
I got a couple more now.
I was thinking just to veer off a little bit from the feedback here. So we keep talking about Zeus. We keep talking about Ace moving into my new shed. It's going to be a problem because my mom is coming to stay with me for the holidays, and I don't know how close I'm going to allow Ace to Mrs. G. This is going to be a problem.
Hey, Mrs. G. Oh, whoops! Sorry, my bathrobe opened up a little bit. You got a sneak peek of my rocket.
God. All right, back to the feedback.
Tom, there's a strange man pooping in the backyard.
It's like that scene in Friday. Smokey was just taking a shit. Hey, guys, don't worry about me. Hey, say hi to Mrs. G. By the way, can you cook me up a grilled cheese? I'm a big fan of those with the Velveeta. Kind of melts when you pull the bread apart. All right. God, we are addicted to Ace. We just can't. We're our own version of the Ace cult, but in a different way. All right. Matt Murphy, looking forward to the interview, but I just started listening and I already have a question for Zeus. What is a nerd house? I don't even remember. What is he talking about?
I don't remember. I have no idea.
I don't either.
What is a nerd? We
are. Then he follows up with a great comment here. Great episode, guys. You have a knack for asking a wide range of questions, including, quote, I always wondered that, end quote, kind of stuff. Your conversational style makes the guest feel comfortable. Pop-Up is fantastic. And anyone that writes multiple books about UFO is a friend of mine. Yeah, UFO, very underrated, man. They're great. Oh, yeah. John Schaefer, I loved hearing Zeus breaking down the Kiss lawsuit with Gooch. That was fucking awesome. Yes.
Okay.
Gerald Rosenberg, this book looks great. I can't wait to get it. I have a spot reserved for it right where Ross Radley's Magic will be going. On second thought, Martin may be publishing Kiss at 100 before Magic comes out. Some good stuff, man. Some good stuff there. So that's what we got for Twitter.
All right. On the Book of Face, let's start off here with our buddy Keith Rochford. Awesome. Just got my copy in the mail. This will continue. Shout it out Loudcast, year of amazing episodes.
Wow. Thank you.
Paul Heider. Enjoyed the episode. Interesting to listen to a writer talk a little bit about the process, depending on the assignment project he's been given. Popov is very measured and articulate. Good back and forth on Rainbow too. I chuckled a bit when he mentioned a talk with the publisher about a Motorhead at 50 and absolute silence from the two of you.
Well, that was that was us showing Martin respect. So we figured if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yes, we just had the great Metal Mike on.
Yes.
To talk about his hair metal journey book on Dorm Damage. That's already out this week.
Yep.
And there were, out of respect for him, we could have been fucking brutal with some of the, well, this is a great year. Man of War had an album going, like, dude. Like,
what are you talking about? What are you talking? The Tiger Tail's second album is fucking great. And again, it's all in jest. We love Mike and his podcast and his book is fucking
and same
fantastic. Thing
with Martin. But if Mike said fucking Man of War one more time, I was gonna explode. But anyways,
Sabotage. It's like fucking Steve Wright's Personal Heaven.
We got a ton of like, hey, it's a great book. I'm buying it. Where can I get it? So let's go over to Loudcasters. The great David Caffey says it's a great book. See what I mean? John Whiteman says, I haven't gotten the book yet. Does it have the Vinnie Vincent Turd picture in it? John is the one.
That's going to be when it comes out in the expanded edition.
The Kisstory book, that big Kiss book.
Yeah.
The picture book. Beautiful.
What about the picture of my turd? I just made one in Tom's shed.
Hey, when you get around to the left side of the yard, Tom, don't forget to get mine. I'm going over more in the corner.
I don't want to interfere with Scout Poops.
Yeah, me and him are marking our own territory, Anyway, Tom, we'll get to John Whitemore. He's got a nice email that comes in. And we'll get to him a little bit later. The great Jason Warden. Well, hell. Martin Popoff got me to do something I never thought I'd do again. Buy a book, not on Audible, that I'd actually have to read. Man, I love Kiss at 50. Then hearing you talk about other ones like AC/DC, Sabbath, and Zepp, we'll be ordering soon. And the Van Halen book to look forward to. Another great interview that I'm glad I got to hear right when I got Kiss at 50.
And all you Rush fans out there, we touched on a little bit his Rush books. I have the Rush album by album, but then he did specific books on Rush during the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. He's Canadian.
Did you know this was coming? Did you know this was coming? Because
Is it Joey Romanek's comment?
Joey, don't paint more than 1,000 stubbles on my fucking fake beard. Romanek.
I think it wasn't his comment. It's something like, while I'm ironing my jeans, I always read Martin's Rush books.
I don't know. While I'm looking over asbestos reports. Awesome interview. History in 5 Songs is my go-to podcast. Always entertaining. And if you're a Rush fan, Martin's 3-book series, Anthem, Limelight, and Driven, are must-reads.
See? Yeah, Rush nerd, Rush cult, Rush tards.
Rush tards is more like it. Over on our Instagram, this is from Junior Vintage. Thank you, Martin, for your candidness in writing a different spin on the Kiss story. I own several of Martin's works on the band Rush, including Contents Under Pressure, Rush in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They are all incredible. Great job, TNZ. Over on YouTube, Fanis23. Great show, guys. Some super insight by Martin in what great deep thought goes into producing such a great book. We'll be definitely seeking it out. I think Martin would be a great Storm Damage guest to have to discuss other artists. His knowledge is vast and articulate. His knowledge is probably better than anybody I can even think of. Tom, would you agree?
We talked about this. I love having Martin on as a guest because he's so cerebral in his analysis. Like we could just geek out with him. I love it, whether it's Kiss or Rush or Rainbow or just music in general. I love having him as a guest. That's why I love his books. I love his work.
And really pumps my nads.
Pop Off really pumps my.
I love his work. About the Funk says, Ace is lounging in his hammock in Tom's backyard.
That's true. I haven't set it up yet, but he's got it coming.
Pinworm says, loving Martin, loving TNZ. Great episode. I think that's the great Mike H. Chris Flood. Great shows always, guys, but I can see Kiss tards all over the country calling 911 when you start talking about Rainbow, saying their history rights have been violated. Hope you can get Martin on Dorm Damage Days, discuss some other music. Patrick 2420 says, put that cashew be down.
Nice.
Seriously, what's up with Ace and all the cashews?
It's a good healthy snack and they're pretty cheap. Usually I buy the Hannaford store brand. Plant is a little too much.
I like the salted ones. They get a little sticky on my fingers, but then I'll lick my fingers. I got to remember, did I wipe after I pooped in Tom's yacht? I don't know, but it still tastes pretty good. I can picture him holed up in the shed vividly. Those 90 seconds made the whole episode. Thanks, brother. And somebody else recently told us that. I think we had a nice discussion with the great James Campion recently, who said that shit we were doing. We're like, me and you were saying, like, yeah, we're a little embarrassed. Sometimes we have these great guests and authors, and in the middle of it is us talking about Ace shitting his pants in Tom's backyard.
Oh.
And we get a little embarrassed. He's like, no, we love that stuff. And so anyway, Tom, over to you. Get some emails done, and we'll get to the episode.
All right. Our good buddy AJ White. Great episode as always. My feedback, however, is regarding last week's question about Eric Carr singing Peter's songs. The only Peter song he ever sang was Beth on Smashes. No, well, he did sing Black Diamond and sometimes live, but not only did he not want to do it, but he was incredibly vocal about how uncomfortable he was being pushed into it. That is very true. He felt it was disrespectful and certainly never did it live. Man, what a class act he was. For these final shows, how about putting up a few videos of Peter and Ace? I guarantee most of us fans will go crazy, way more crazy than seeing Tommy and Eric doing them. I have no issues with them at all, but doing their songs live is where I draw my line. I have absolutely no doubt that the reason people are upset by it is because he's in Peter's makeup, although very embarrassing and has nothing to do with him faking it on the piano. If he was sitting on a stool handing out roses, real fans would hate it even more. As a matter of fact, I think the diehards would rather not hear it at all. hick into Strange Ways or Mainline, and you might see the diehards change their tune, but to each their own. Just my opinion. Looking forward to the next episode. Great points, AJ. Excellent points.
If he started doing Mainline or songs that weren't written by Ace and written by Paul, like Hard Luck Woman and Mainline, then I think it'd be a lot easier on him.
Yep. We got a great email and a great Facebook post with an awesome picture sporting the Shout It Out Loudcast t-shirt from Tennessee Duke. He sent us an incredible email with a review of the Nashville show from Monday, October 23rd. Great email, great review. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Share the set list and everything. Awesome stuff. So we really appreciate that. John Whiteman chimes in via email.
Oh, Jesus.
I've been meaning to reach out to you guys for a while, but I'm actually lazy as fuck, so I haven't. Thank you. Thank you for the episode shout out. It makes me proud that my post was such a defining moment in the history of the show and quite possibly all of human history. It took me a while to sift through several hundred turd pics before I found the perfect one to drop in Vinny's toilet, but it was obviously worth it. I love the show, and like many others, I feel like I'm hanging out with old friends when I listen. It's easy to forget that I don't know you guys, so I was a bit worried that I had overstepped after hearing your last rant, but I'm pretty sure now that it wasn't about me. Hopefully, I can get to know you guys better and maybe hang out in the VIP lounge if Ace ends up doing a residency in Tom's shed. Until then, I'll keep trying to walk the line. John Whiteman, you never have to walk the line, brother. Good stuff from you always.
That's awesome because that's somebody that gets it.
Yep, exactly.
There's a fine line between overdoing a lot of shit that a lot of people do.
That's right.
And he gets what works, what doesn't. And he understands, hey, shit, maybe I don't know these guys well enough, so I don't know if I should put this. Unlike other people, hey, fuck, like, that don't get it or jump in or make comments that are just like, huh? I don't know you. What the fuck you talking about? Anyway, John, kudos to you. And thank you very much.
We got another one here from our buddy Tom Selig. Great emails as always from me. He says, a Kiss Tards Unite gathering would be so much fun. Or host a live broadcast, get everyone together. I'm in. We're going to be doing something, but we're not sure yet. But that final show in New York, something's going to happen. We don't know yet. Mike H. So I'm doing what I do every Saturday morning, which is listening to you guys. I'm on my way to my job. I look down to see the next turn that I have to make on my GPS, and guess what? It's Zeus Street. I thought it was cool. Picture attached. Awesome guest, awesome interview, and as always, awesome show. I love you guys. Take care. And he sends us a picture of his GPS, and it says 1.8 miles to Zeus Street.
Wow.
Good stuff. And that's what we got for emails.
And Tom, we got one more comment we're going to get to, and it's from our Loudcasters page. And this is from the great Russ Tozer. You're knocking it out of the park with these interviews, TNZ. I could listen to them all day. The book looks amazing, and Martin seems like a cool guy. The Kiss content is what we're all here for, but I must say, the little sidestep into Rainbow Chat made this old rocker smile. So much so that I just revisited your Graham Bonnet interview. Russ, for the compliments, for doing what we want listeners to do, which is to search out music, to search out interviews, to search out more things. And you put it out there so nicely and eloquently right there in that post. We thank you, and you are comment of the week.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. We're going to be watching you.
Yeah, Russ. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Awesome stuff.
Tom, what we do next is we give a shout out to our Patreon family. Patreon is where people can come and help the show. You support us. It goes a long way. We have a huge family of Patreon members, and we're looking for more. So if you want to help us out and you want to become part of the Patreon family, please go to our website. You'll see Patreon, the link. Click on it and subscribe. We have 4 different tiers. And with those tiers, you make a monetary contribution. You get perks back from us, whether it be merch, whether it be episode involvement, whether it be picking the songs for the album for ARC, and whether it's the March Madness tournament. We like to keep our Patreon families involved because they've earned it and they're helping us out. It's a great way to help the show continue to grow and get great guests that we've been getting lately. Thanks to Patreon, that's been the biggest help that we could ask for. So if you really want to help the show, you want us to continue, you want us to grow, you want to be part of the Patreon family, come join and help us out. And we really appreciate and thank you to all those members.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge thanks, as always, every single week to the Patreon family. You guys are amazing. You're helping keeping the show growing, and supporting us is incredible. We're so grateful for you. So please, if you're interested, check us out, patreon.com, download the app, click on the link from our website, shoutoutloudcast.com, and check us out. Lots of perks there, and you'll see them all as soon as you check us out. So please do that. And again, a huge shout out to all of our current and long-standing Patreon members.
Tom, what we do next is we go over to Kiss World. What's going on there?
They are in the process of wrapping up their final shows. 38 days from this recording until the final show in New York City, which we're going to be there. We're recording on Wednesday, October 25th, and they are in St. Louis, Missouri at the time of this recording. And then they make their way through the rest of the United States, a stop in Canada, and then back down into the U.S., and that's it. The stage show is a little different. There is a little bit of something going on in front of like Eric's drum set across the length of the stage with some colors. The pods look a little bit different, a little bit of different imaging and graphics and stuff. Set list is pretty much the same. I think somebody said they maybe brought Making Love back in or something. So a couple slight changes, but I will say this. Some diehards that we're friends with on Facebook have been saying that it's fucking incredible, that they are loving it. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of emotion and nostalgia because for a lot of people, it's the last time they're ever going to see them. But I'm happy to hear that people just having a great time, and that's what we want to hear.
Tom Paul has also said a couple things in the news, like Ultimate Classic Rock had interviews with him again. About, the band members not coming in, and like Ace and Peter and stuff.
Talked about the Sphere and the Residency. Like, you're not doing that, dude. We know that.
Yeah.
We get it.
It's the same old stuff. And, you know, every time they talk, though, people jump up and reprint the shit, and then all hell breaks loose because it's the same old shit.
He also made a comment about the set list too, of course. So he addressed all those hot button issues. Set list, Ace and Peter. And it's pretty much like this, like in Coming to America. It's like set list, fuck you, and fuck you. Ace and Peter, fuck you, and fuck you. We're not doing any of it. We don't care what any of you people want. We're not doing any of it.
Yeah, it's just I wish somebody had a what do you call it, a forum where they could push back on that.
Yep,
and say something to them like, "What are you talking about?" You ask, "Have you ever polled any of your fans?" I'll tell you what they'll tell you.
Yeah,
yeah. We don't need to hear "say yeah" for the 1 millionth time. So we don't need
to hear "say yeah" at all. So
yeah. So regardless, anyway, Tom, let's take a quick break. And we'll get into the main topic. But before we do, I'm going to see if Ace is ready to step in and help you with trick-or-treaters that come to your house. Hey, I got some candy back here, too. There's some like half-chewed bowl of nuts I got back here for some of the kids. If they want to come trick-or-treat, tell them to ring my doorbell on the shed, Tom.
All right, we're back, and we did have a little incident with trick-or-treating. Ace was inadvertently, instead of dropping candy in the kids' bags, he was dropping those little poop bags. You know, he was picking up his poop with Scout's little doggy bags, and he was, sorry, I thought you guys were collecting the trash. My mistake. Don't eat that. I know it looks like a Snickers, but it isn't.
I ate one of those by accident in 1977. I was sick for a week. Tom, we got asked about the Tom Snyder show constantly. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Yep. Like we already, like the thought process has already been going, guys. We have things planned out when we're going to do it. So it's not like we're ignoring like, oh, Tom Snyder show. What's that all about? We just want to time things according to like an organized schedule and figure out a way to do it. And it's Halloween. Hence, we're doing it.
That's right. October 31st, 1979. everybody who's listening to the show, as soon as you hear the words Tom Snyder and Kiss, you know what you think of. You think of Ace, you think of Gene, and you think of just the chaos. And it's something that as Kiss fans, we love, we cringe, we talk about it, we analyze, and we can't wait to do that tonight.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, I'm going to put this inside the episode, play out the whole show of Kiss on Tom Snyder, and when the episode ends, we'll come back and we'll analyze and break it down. So here it is. Tom, that was the legendary episode with Tom Snyder. Now, I mean, it's cliche. We know a lot of the stuff. All Kiss fans know this. We don't want to just talk about the questions being asked because I'll be honest with you, I learned nothing. If it wasn't an interview, it wasn't in-depth stuff like, oh, I heard them talk about that. It has nothing to do with it. This is Tom breaking it down, personalities, body language. This is a therapy session or a psychoanalysis session or something. And I want to hear what you think about what we just heard.
Yeah. I mean, when was the first time that you remember seeing this? Because I remember hearing about this. I don't think we saw actual video footage, or at least I don't remember. I think until the Kissologies came out. There were some clips. It's a very short clip. The clip that we just dropped for you guys to hear is the full, like, extended, like 30, 35-minute thing, the entire thing. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, you see the memes, the GIFs of Ace laughing and cackling, the death stare from Gene. I mean, before we break it down, give me your initial thoughts when you think of this, when you see it, when you watch this again with like fresh eyes, you know, and kind of looking at it from a different angle.
I think Paul and Gene come across like fucking assholes. I think Ace comes across as a fucking like a child. Like some of it may have been funny the first time, but I get to see all aspects of everybody. I thought Peter was the fucking coolest because he was laid back. He'd laugh when it was funny, and he added his couple comments in. I thought he was the most natural. I think Ace was over the top because he was fucking shit-faced.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, Gene, it's funny to watch this now because of what we think of Gene now and what we think of Paul now. So watching that from 1979, it's the reverse. Gene's the stick in the mud. He's bullshit. He's pissed off. And Paul has a smile and a smirk trying to like survive this disaster. Gene is just wants to fucking like absolutely dismember Ace. Where I feel like if that happened now, it would be the exact opposite. Gene would be like Ace, so that was kind of an eye-opening thing to me to see that Gene was the one that was like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah, Paul didn't have the confidence level of Gene of running the band.
Right, I think so, yeah.
And I think it's even telling when at a certain point when Ace was just off the rails, Tom's like, Gene, help me out. Like, he didn't say Paul. Gene was the leader back then.
Yeah.
Paul was the nervous, like, smiling through his teeth and, like, gritting his teeth.
That nervous look.
Yeah, and Gene was just like, yeah, Ace, yeah. And then, like, the parent that, like, when you're in that event and you're at, like, a family gathering or something, he looks over at you like your dad's like, I'm going to fucking kill you when we get home.
I think the thing that made it even better. So I'm a fan of Tom Snyder because he's like someone's dad. He's kind of dorky. He had absolutely no idea who he was talking to. I mean, he said the bass player. He didn't fucking know their names. He had no idea what he was doing. He had absolutely no control over the interview. But I found that a little bit endearing that it was just a regular guy. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like that dorky high school teacher that's monitoring like study hall. And he can't get the kids to like behave. So he's just trying to like talk to them because he knows they're going to be pieces of shit anyways. Like Tom Snyder, the poor guy was just like, all right, let's go around and talk about, where you're from and and fucking Ace is dressing up the space bear and like, it was just,
Yeah, I agree with you with both Snyder. He had a very, I don't know how to explain it, like, disarming way of treating guests. Like
yes.
He always seemed like, I'm generally interested. So
Yeah.
you worked as an accountant for 2 years, like boring shit.
Yep.
And he would make it seem like, oh, really? Oh,
Yep.
Let me ask you about that. Like, he did not seem like he was like, says here, you worked at the docks for a couple years. Like, he
Right.
seemed like, wow, really? Oh, like, and he got it back from Ace.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it is exactly what he said. Like, they said here, like, you'd be quiet and you wouldn't come out of your shell and I need to talk to you. And Ace was just fucking hammered and going off, and he didn't expect it. And he was going along with it. But I think halfway through, he was just like, dude, this is a fucking train wreck. And I could tell this band is very uncomfortable, the dynamic in here. And he was just trying to like not play up Ace too much because I think he figured, oh, he's in trouble when the show's over.
Yeah. Let's get to a couple of comments and quotes from Behind the Mask. There's actually a section in Behind the Mask about some legendary TV appearances. Now, there are comments from Gene, Peter, Ace, Bill Aucoin, and their publicist, Carol Kay. I find it interesting. No comment from Paul. Interesting. So Gene says, the Tom Snyder show experience was horrific. Ace was bombed, and Peter was in his I'm Italian and I love guns mood. I was trying very desperately to keep it together. Tom Snyder kept going to Ace, the guy who was cracking up and having a good time. Ace and Peter would play off of each other. As soon as Peter saw that Ace was having a good time, it was almost a license for him to say, oh yeah, I like guns and I'm in gangs. You're rich and you're in a rock and roll band. He was never in a gang. They both loved the idea that they were bad boys. They're not bad boys. If these guys were in gangs, they would have wound up being dog food. I don't know. I don't understand why Gene's saying that, because I truly think that Peter is a fucking psycho.
Yeah, I think he's, I don't know. For some reason, it seems like they're like, well, Ace is a fucking mess, but Peter's an asshole.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, Peter can control that, and he didn't want to. He found a way to just fucking rub it in our face. Well, no offense. When you got your chance, you rubbed it in his face as well.
Well, I think that's another bit of the thing too. Peter says, for the first time, Ace and I had hijacked an interview from Gene and Paul, and the result was hilarious. So right there, that their goal was to just be fucking assholes in front of them, make Gene and Paul uncomfortable, embarrass the band, embarrass everybody. Because you're right, at that point, the band was like hanging by a thread, barely. At that time. So they already hated each other, and they were probably like, you know what? Fuck these guys. Peter continued to say, we took over the show. Ace was drinking champagne. He was shit-faced. I think he passed out in the dressing room afterward. Gene was steaming mad because Ace took over the show and he was so funny. I thought it was terrific. I was Ace's biggest fan that night.
See that? I thought it was terrific. He loved that they would torch. Ace was torching the other two.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's true. Now there is a comment from Paul from his book Face the Music. He did say that, talking about how the band was kind of like collapsing. He said people were having second thoughts about coming to see us. So he knew that there was like burnout from the band, and like this did not help because they were hanging by a thread. It was terrible. Ace gets into the details. He says, I was totally nervous. This was the first time I was ever going to do a major network show where I knew millions of people would be watching. At that point, I was still having stage fright. I was definitely afraid to be in front of a camera. So on the way down, I drank a half a bottle of Stoli. I usually don't drink vodka. I'm usually a beer drinker. All it did was basically make me normal and relaxed because I was so terrified. I remember the producer called me up. They called me on an off day where I wasn't really in a talkative mood. And even Tom mentions it in the interview, and he said, my producer told me that Ace probably won't talk at all. I have no idea where I came up with those jokes. The ones about the cows in Bombay, the plumber, it just came off the top of my head.
Okay, Shecky Green, settle down. Exactly. Oh, fucking cows in Bombay.
Exactly.
So it just, Ace is, the thing about it is it got taken on a legendary status. and the Ace cult love this. This. Live for this.
So here's a little bit more from Ace, and this is the whole mentality and the psychology of it. Ace says, if you watch the video, you can actually see me turning to Gene and putting up my hands at one point and quietly saying, "What?" Like a child who's misbehaving at a family function and wants his dad to loosen up and join in on the fun. Like Zeus, like you said. How seriously can you take yourself when you're sitting there in a superhero costume and full face makeup? I love the guy, but he never got it. I get it, Ace. I get it, Ace, but you weren't there to be making fucking plumber jokes and dressing up a teddy bear and being fucking like a cackling buffoon.
He never got it.
Right.
If they were acting like this in the beginning, when they started like this, they wouldn't have made it out of their first album. If everything was a fucking joke and laughing about it and being, "Oh, look at us, we're fucking stupid." You'd be with the crowd laughing at you. Instead, the Kiss band took the shit seriously and got fucking a crowd and an audience because of that. What are you talking about? Like that's the shit that fucking bugs me about him all the time when he does this. He always wants to act like he's the cool one. Oh, they care about the money. I'm just a rock and roll guy. Really? Have you seen what you try to fucking charge people for your shows and shit? Give me a fucking break. Yep. So I don't want to hear that shit. And that's the stuff that really turns me off when he talks like that. I'm better than them because I'm the real one. They're just phony. Really? Okay. Give back all your money you made from them when you were in that band and keep going out there selling fucking Genghis Khan and Bronx Boy. See how you do with that shit.
Paul has a couple. So then you get serious Paul here. This is from an interview that he did back in 2012. Paul says, "It may seem funny that somebody is drunk, but the fact is that the root of it was, I believe, a contempt and a lack of respect for the audience and the fans. So sure, can you look at it and chuckle? Yeah, I can too, but I see deeper. I look at it and I say, what a shame to take this lofty position that somebody gave us and spit in its face by showing up inebriated or unable to connect a sentence. It may be funny on the surface, but what's below the surface is a lack of appreciation for a gift that you've been given." Now, I'm not going to say that he's right, or wrong, but let's back off the melodrama a little bit, Paul. You know, they not all of these guys are laying it on so thick, whether it's Ace saying, "Oh, Gene didn't get it. It was fucking hilarious." Or Paul being like, "You're spoiling the gift that you were given by," I get both sides, but this right here is why these four guys just could not coexist, which to this day, we haven't talked about the reunion, which to this day, I can't fucking believe the reunion lasted for as long as it did. I mean, that came to a crashing halt too. We'll get into that, but yeah. Paul just being, of course, holier than thou, sitting on his mountain. I don't know. You did make a good point, Zeus. The look on Paul's face is that nervous smile when you're at a kid's birthday party and you know that your kid is the little shit, but you don't want to cause a scene. So you're like, "Hey, he's having fun. That's good."
Yeah. Let's go through each one of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ace, quick thoughts.
It's funny, but it's over the top. There are some funny parts. It's over the top. I will say this. For as shit-faced as he was, he did put some coherent things together when he talked about, "I'm fascinated by space, and, there's going to be a space station that's powered," he at that moment, I'm like, okay, but you knew at any given moment, whether it was a question that Tom Snyder asked or a comment that one of them make, you knew, okay, when is Ace going to jump in with a punchline?
He had the 3:00 giggles. When you're over your buddies and you've been drinking all night, you try to pass out. It's me and you at Creatures Fest trying to pass out.
2:00 in the morning, and we couldn't because everybody be like, "Okay, good night, thanks, brother."
He had that. So, But you're right. He was connecting sentences here and there. He was more articulate than he's ever been now.
Yeah,
he can never talk like this, like he does now.
Yep.
I'm just fascinated by technology. I mean, it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So with me, I'm with you. If I'm going to rank them, who came off likable, I would put Ace as number 2 for me on this episode.
Okay.
So me, the next guy is Peter. I would rank him number 1 for me because he was kind of like Ace, but he wasn't as over the top. He was having his fun. He was making comments. He was actually speaking, given a chance to speak, talked about some of the things that he liked. I thought he came across as the most likable and most normal one on there
Okay,
me.
this is where we're going to disagree. First of all, Peter was on something.
Yeah,
whether it wasn't coke, because he would have been a little bit snappier with his behavior if it was coke. He was on something, I don't know, like a fucking Quaalude or something, because his eyes looked like they were barely open. He looked like he was fucking dazed and confused. The thing I didn't like about Peter, and we all know guys like this, Peter was reveling in a real obnoxious way with the discomfort of Paul and Gene. Now, it's funny. You're laughing, and so was I.
I know.
But to me, it was very, very dickish. You know, because at that point, he fucking hated Paul and Gene.
But you get why, because they fucking tortured him.
Of course,
he was getting his revenge.
But and that's the thing. He didn't have to do anything.
No, it was Ace doing it for him.
It was like when I was in grade school, I used to get in trouble all the time because I would like get the giggles. And I would be like, no, but he made me laugh. That's why I'm laughing. It's not me. And that's Peter. Peter's like, I didn't do anything. I'm just laughing at the funny guy right now. But I feel like that almost pissed off Paul and Gene more. That Peter was kind of like,
because Ace is more original. They're thinking, and he's just being Ace. He can't help it. But Peter's putting some fucking hatred behind that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So he's number 2 for me. You can give your rankings at the end.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me would be in this thing, I would say would be Gene, not Paul. Because Gene was authentic. He was pissed and he was showing it. He had the balls to be like, motherfucker, you fucking idiot. And he had some decent comments. He was answering the questions. He was talking. I always like when Gene tries to put people on the spot. Name me a cartoon. Name me a horror movie that was the French actor so-and-so played. Hey. I like that. But he was a complete dick. So he's way down as number 3.
So
number 4 would be the last guy.
So this is, again, we're going to differ a little bit. I think Gene was as unprofessional as Ace was. I think he was as unprofessional as Ace was. I think sitting there, slinked back in his chair with that puss on his face, looking like a spoiled little bitch that took his fucking little piece of candy from him. I actually think he came off the worst. Now, I'm not saying that his behavior wasn't warranted, and I totally understand that he was bullshit at Ace, but I think he came off as a complete, just a grumpy old bitch. What he should have done is he should have gotten into it and been like, Ace, you're going to let me talk? You want to let me say something? I understand you having that would have still been dickish, but that image of his face is legendary.
So what you're saying is it should be like that episode we did with Paul and Gene got into that fight.
Yes.
Hey, I don't appreciate you doing that to me.
Exactly.
Stop insulting me to my face, like that stuff.
Yes. If
he wasn't going to get anywhere with Ace, Ace was smashed.
No, I know that. I know. But see, and then we're going to differ because I think Paul came off almost as the most sympathetic because I think he was trying to keep it together. He had a smile. It was fake. He knew that the fucking interview went up in flames and he was trying to not embarrass himself, even though the whole band was being embarrassed.
I put him at number 4.
Really?
Because he had the sourpuss look on his face too. And he had nothing to say. He didn't even because we all know Paul. So we knew he couldn't hide it.
Yeah.
But he was trying and he had a little bitch way of fucking trying to not show that he's upset.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I think Gene and Paul could, change. It could be 3-4, 4-3. I don't care. But for me, the order as I see it on this episode, I go Peter, Ace, Gene, Paul.
Yeah, the funny thing is when you watch this interview or when you listen to it, you guys got to watch it. You have to watch it after hearing it in this episode. That it lasted for as long as it did, right? Like at what point no producer, Tom Snyder himself, nobody said, guys, this. Either he and his producers said, okay, this is TV gold. Maybe they just let's just run with it. Ace is shit face and everybody's going to get a kick out of this. But I am surprised that
is it TV gold? It's TV gold for Kiss Tards,
That's what I'm
Probably
saying.
America watching this, they're probably like, the fuck is this idiot? I had no respect for them before. I have less respect for them now.
And that's, I would love to know if Paul or Gene, after that thing ended, I would love to see like off the camera, like bits of that. Like, did they ever try to tell Tom, like, you can't air this? Don't fucking air this. This is terrible. Like, I don't know. Here's a funny quote from Carol Kay, who was the publicist at the time. She says, we booked the band on the Tom Snyder show. It wasn't an everyday occurrence back then to see a rock band on a late night interview program. This was a major coup. Tom had this little stuffed animal that he kept next to his seat. Ace kept picking up the animal and playing with it. He called it his space bear. Ace was very drunk, and I was very scared that the show wouldn't come off well. But Ace came off as lovable. He's not a mean drunk. He's a lovable drunk. He kept playing with the stuffed bear. Even though Tom was desperately trying to conduct a normal interview, you can see that his eye kept going to the bear. I remember when we went to a commercial, Tom Snyder, who's about 6'5", got up and said, "Give me that bear." I'll never forget it. That is hilarious to me. And then this is another great comment here from Bill O'Coin. My favorite TV appearance is the Tomorrow Show. What happened was Ace was interviewed for the show. He was drunk, so he didn't do the initial interview before the show. They told Snyder that Gene and Paul are your main people. Peter is pretty good, and Ace isn't going to do anything. I ended up sharing a bottle of champagne with Ace in the dressing room, and he was ready. Snyder couldn't believe it. He thought his people had set him up. Every time Ace said something, Snyder went to pieces. He was laughing and screaming. It was a turn of events that worked brilliantly. Gene was upset because Ace took over the show.
So is it jealousy or is it the drunken behavior?
I don't think it's jealousy. I think it's upsetting to them because in Paul and Gene's eyes, I think two things. Paul and Gene knew that the band was falling apart and fractured, and that was probably upsetting to them from a standpoint. But I also think, put that aside, I think they were embarrassed because our band looks granted, they were in the Dynasty costumes, which to some people is a joke to begin with, of super flamboyant and over the top. But I feel like Paul and Gene were like, you're really, really embarrassing us here now. Because Paul and Gene took it very seriously. And again, they knew that the band was falling apart. So I think it was a perfect storm of just a total disaster for the band.
Yeah, it could be, but I still think like, hey, the other guys thought for a minute, hey, this is the first time we're one of the fucking people that are getting attention in these interviews.
Yep.
We've done a million of them. What? The first time we get attention? Now it's a problem? You guys don't like it? How's it feel to fucking sit there in the background while we get the questions and the attention?
Good point.
I don't know. There's a little bit of all of it involved.
I agree.
There's going to be a shit ton of feedback on this. I'm interested in seeing it, how it comes across. But yeah, this is legendary. It's legendary. And, we're glad we got to get to this episode and we broke it down for you. Let us know what you think. So Tom, but before we move on, we've got to rank our TV appearances. Yep. So we have done ABC in Concert, Mike Douglas Show, Paul Lynde Halloween Special, Don Kirshner's Rock Concert, Land of Hype and Glory, Gene and Ace on the Don Lane Show, Kiss on Fridays, MTV Kiss Unmasked, Paul and Gene on Oprah, Kiss Mad TV, Halloween Spooktacular, Kiss on Family Guy, a very special Family Guy freaking Christmas, and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us how you rank these?
Yeah, of course. So starting from the bottom, last I have the Kiss Mad TV Halloween Spooktacular, Macy's Day Parade, Kiss on Family Guy, Gene and Ace on the Don Lane Show, Paul and Gene on Oprah, MTV Kiss Unmasking, Paul Lynde Halloween Special, Mike Douglas Show, Don Kirshner's Rock Concert, Land of Hype and Glory, Kiss on Fridays, and ABC in Concert. Now, for this, it's entertaining, but there's no music, there's no performance, which I find, we didn't talk about that. I find that striking that they didn't ask the band to perform.
Yeah, Tom Snyder says something in the beginning.
Yeah.
They came with all their stuff, all this and this and that, but they didn't get they're not performing today.
Yeah, weird. But anyways, so that's obviously a detriment in terms of rankings. Again, it's entertaining. it's really not something that I'm probably going to want to go back to too often because it is kind of uncomfortable and I feel like we've seen it for forever, but it is legendary. It is the 4 original band members. So I am going to put this at number 8. I'm going to put it right below MTV Kiss Unmasking and right above Paul and Gene on Oprah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Tom, I have my rankings as Macy's Day Parade as last, Kiss Mad TV, then Paul and Gene on Oprah, then Gene and Ace on Don Lane Show, Land of Hype and Glory, then MTV Unmasking, Kiss on Family Guy, Kiss on Fridays, ABC in Concert, Paul Lynde Halloween Special, Mike Douglas Show, Don Kirshner's Rock Concert number 1.
Okay.
I am putting this right at number 8 as well, underneath MTV Kiss Unmasking and above Land of Hype and Glory.
Okay. Yep.
It's not as funny as I think like the Family Guy ones. And the Kiss on Friday is a bunch of quirky little stupid little gimmick things. The Kiss Unmasking is legendary in and of itself.
Yep. I agree.
And this is as funny as it is, a little bit of it gets to a point where it's uncomfortable.
Well, it's too long. That's the thing. Yeah. It's too long. It's like a Saturday Night Live skit that just went on too long. Yeah. Yep.
All right, Tom. What we do next is we go to question of the week. You got one?
Okay, this comes from Anthony on Facebook. Anthony says, when Kiss finally wraps it up in New York City on December 2nd, do you think that Kiss will be like one of those other legacy artists, like Elvis or Jimi Hendrix or Prince, that continue to put out material, whether it's continued off the soundboards or more live albums or DVD box sets or whatever? Or do you think Kiss will just go away?
Oh, no, they're never going to go away. They make too much money from this stuff. There'll be more albums, more obscure shit, more compilations, videos and things like that, all sorts of shit. I'm telling you, I really feel there'll be a way more.
Yeah, I think so too. I just hope that right now, so the reason that we're not getting any deluxe box sets or off the soundboard is because Kiss is in the middle of trying to wheel and deal with Universal, because Universal owns the Kiss catalog. Paul and Gene own all the demos and live stuff from off the soundboard. So right now there's kind of a back and forth with that. I hope that gets settled because I know people loved the off the soundboards and the deluxe sets. I would like to think that after this show in New York City in December that we will continue to get some stuff, maybe more Kissology, maybe more something. They won't go away in terms of like t-shirts and merch. But in terms of audio video stuff, that's where I'm nervous about, just because of the way the band is. I hope there's more, but I get worried about that. But either way, Anthony, great question. I have a feeling everybody's wondering the same thing. So thank you for contributing to that.
Tom, where can people find us?
Go to our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes. The Shout Out Loudcast episode, Dorm Damage, Album Review Crew, Zeppelin Chronicles. You can find all the links to our social media. Links to our Amazon shopping page. Our merch is there. Our Patreon. You can comment directly from the website, and we get those in the form of an email, and we read every email. And if you want to have your question be read as question of the week, or if you want to be part of our upcoming mailbag, please submit one. You can use the website to do that, or email us directly at shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. That's the email address, shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. And of course, we're on all the social media, Twitter, X, whatever it's called now, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Please follow us, subscribe, interact with us. We love the fact that you guys are seeing these end of the road shows, these final shows, taking pictures, sharing them, your feedback, your videos, pictures of you with Shout Out Loudcast gear on. We love it. So keep doing that. And again, a huge shout out to our wonderful Patreon family. Please check us out. Again, click on the link or download the app. And we always like to say that we are a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network of shows.
Yeah, people can DM us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us one of those 5-star child reviews so people can find our podcast. Please, Tom mentioned it already. Go to our website. I just put a lot of fucking time into that thing.
Yep.
So make sure you go take a look and peek around. I added, I don't know, maybe at least a half a dozen new pictures that you guys have been giving us of you wearing the Loudcaster stuff. So you go to the About section. If you go towards the bottom, there's a slide there of all the Loudcasters wearing our gear. I've added in photos of the Kiss cruise that I for some reason I didn't have it in there, and the Gene Simmons event. We updated also any articles that quote Shout It Out Loudcast, the podcast, in the media section. Like, we put a lot of work into the website recently and added more data and stuff. And we'll keep putting more pictures of you guys, keep sending to them. And if you do post something, tag us, just say, because I'll have to end up reaching out to you. Just say, yeah, please, you can use this for the website, so I don't have to email you guys or DM you. Again, our website again, shoutitoutloudcast.com, shoutitoutloudcast.com, and you can always email us with questions, comments, suggestions at shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com, shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. Tom, what we do next is we always end on famous last words. Do you have any?
Oh, yes, I do, as always. We'd go to school, and then we'd cut out, go to the park, and space our heads out. We called it fun. But there was doubt, hanging out down in the city.
Yeah. I've been up and down. I've been all around. I was mystified, almost terrified. But late at night, I still hear you call my name.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, fucking stupid.
What is the matter with us? Oh, my God.
Tom, Loudcasters, Kiss Army, thank you.
Guys, you're the best. Thank you so much. Happy Halloween. Check your candy bags for any Aces doo-doos in there, and be safe. And if anybody out there is dressing up as Kiss for Halloween, tag us. Send some pictures. We want to see them. So thank you. And Zeus, as always, my friend, thank you.
Peace out, Girl Scout. Cut the music. What I want now, for all you fat, out-of-shape, worldwide Kiss cards, to keep the noise down while I show the ladies what a real sexy man looks like. Hit the music.
Listen, all you people out there sitting on rented furniture, settle down.
Anybody seen Richie? Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo?